So we went in, closed the ceremony. I couldn't sleep all night. You know, that's okay. I said, I'm going to go home. And then I waited. I said, I'm going to stay, but I'm not going to drink. I'm going to stay. I'm not going to drink. So I was terrified. The whole thing is worse than a war. You know, this is something that destroyed me, really. The next day we didn't drink because 2 days on a road they give you drink, but this one was just one. The first night, and then no drink, and the next day drink, and the next day drink afterwards. So we didn't drink. It was okay. We recovered. And the next day when we sit, we explain what happened to you last night, and everybody explained. The same night that I was dying like a miserable guy, the Israeli guy, he was in joy that he says it was it has a good name, I forgot in English. It's just like he's just on climax all night. All night. Now, I would tell you about the Israeli guy because he was on climax. Before this, we were sitting next together, me and the Israeli guy and one guy. He was an oil explorer, a young guy, that I really laugh when I talk to my wife. 3 days through the ceremony, I see a young guy here. I said, who are you? He says, I'm so-and-so. And I said, are you part of this? He goes, yes. I said, it was supposed to be 3 days ago. How come you just showed up? He says, it's a long story. I said, what long story? Did you miss your plane? He goes, no, I didn't miss my plane. I came in even 2 days before the ceremony was. I said, then how come you didn't come here? He says, I went out and drank and smoked, and I missed it. I said, what was the reason you came here? He says, I wanted to come here to stop drinking. And as a guy, I told him, I'm sure ayahuasca would help you. Don't worry. And he told me, you don't know what I have done to my wife, to my 2 kids. I said, how old are they? He says, one is 4 years old and one is 1 year old. Boy, he says, yes. And that touched me. When my wife called that day, I was going to tell her something like a joke. You know, this is a joke. The guy came in to quit drinking, and he goes out and drink because that's how miserable the guy is. So for me, it's like a joke. But I'm trying to explain to her. I found out I cannot because that feeling. He told me, you don't know what I've done to my wife and the kids. It's so strong in me. I don't know, Mother Ayahuasca did already his job that made me so sensitive, you know? Okay. Now, this guy, an Israeli guy, we were sitting, and we asked the Israeli guy, what do you do in Israel? He says, I'm in security. Oh, where? In American embassy, you know, in Jerusalem, you know. And the guy says, he was in the special forces in Israel. And when he says, we asked him, where were you doing before? He says, I was in the special forces in Israel. And the guy says, oh, do you know this and that? He says the word. And he says, yes. I said, what was that word you said? The Canadian guy he says, it's like a martial art. The Israeli guy says, why you mislead this guy? It's not martial, it's not art. It's a technique that you're supposed to kill another person without any ammunition or anything in 10 minutes. If you do it in 10 minutes, you fail. You got to do it in 9 minutes. You got to kill the guy. And the Canadian guys ask him, then what the war machine is doing in ayahuasca trip? He didn't tell us why he was there, but and it's the same guy that is going to surprise you at the end what happened. Same guy, on the first night, I'm suffering. He's in climax all night. And he's all night he's doing this. And he couldn't, he says, this Mother Ayahuasca is so much. But at the end, when I was getting my teaching, he was having a trip that shit is all over his body and he's trying to get it out. He cannot. And it is working. My Mother Ayahuasca does different things to each person based on each person's need. It doesn't make any difference who you are. We all are different. So the next day, I told him I'm not going to drink. Simply as that. The facilitator says, why not? I said, I'm not young. I cannot handle this. He says, go tell ayahuasca. Ask ayahuasca. So I'm like you. I said, can you talk to the liquid? You ask the liquid what to do. But I didn't tell him that. In my mind, I said, as a desperate man, I said, okay, I'll do it. So we get to the ceremony. This is drinking time. I said, okay, please, Mother Ayahuasca, take it easy on me. Just simply as that. I drank, I come in and sit. This is the second night. And I sit, nothing happened. It took 1 hour, nothing happened. I pushed the red light, the facilitator come in. I said, what you gave me, it was not what I needed it.
You asked for it?
Yeah, I said, I want more. This was, he goes, okay. He brought whole bottle. He says, tell me how much you want. Okay, so fill it. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, stop right here. That's good. So I drank. The whole body, just like a first night, start to sweat. But mind clear. Nothing. I'm sitting. Mother Ayahuasca says, you ask for, take it easy. Right? And this is the second time when I'm drinking, nothing happened. So the heat of the body and the situation I need to walk. I push the thing, I need to walk. This time, the lady I communicate with her, she came in, says, let's walk. And she is about 30 years old, around there. She's the wife of the facilitator. She's a European. She's full of love. Very nice lady. So we walk. Where do we want to sit? We went to sit next to the bathroom. Okay, we're sitting there. And we talk. And the conversation came in to near-death experience. I said I had near-death experience, but I also had a real death experience. But the real death experience was not interesting. But the near-death experience was much more interesting. She goes, no, could you tell me about the real death experience? I said, okay. I start giving her the story. I won't bother you with the whole story, but very summary, but I get back to the story later. But summary was, back in 1972 or 71 maybe, 1971, I died of carbon monoxide in a gas station, 3 hours or 4 hours, pronounced dead. And then I woke up by somebody on my chest on the way to hospital. The whole body was cold because 3 hours of not, and they were putting blanket on me, and the blanket won't help because the blanket is good for the cold not to come into you, but the cold now is going other way around. So, I was wondering why the policeman is sitting on my chest and so on, and the process that we went to hospital, what happened and so on, and how I become life, and I'll get back to it. So this is the story that hers and I, we talk, right? And then it was almost like an end of ceremony. Now, we're clear, there's no ayahuasca trip, nothing, because I asked Mother Ayahuasca to take it easy on me, and Mother Ayahuasca took it easy on me, right? So on the way back to coming, because that is at the end of ceremony again, on the way, I told her, Anna, thanks very much for listening to an old man garbage. She goes, no, it wasn't garbage. It was good. Thank you for telling me. I asked for it. So we went in. We went in, the ceremony closed. People start to go. But I was tired. I said, I'm going to lay down. The minute I lay down, ayahuasca came. He says, get up. I said, what? He goes, didn't you come here to get a good person? I said, yes. What were you telling her? I was telling her the story that, she asked for. He says, who was the hero of the story? I said, I was the hero of the story. And he goes, I know you didn't lie, but you really brushed the hero, didn't you? Brushing means you're writing your resume. You don't lie. You say exactly this is what I do, but you do it in such a way that you really brush it, highlight it.
You want to sell yourself.
What?
You want to sell yourself.
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. That's a washing Mother Ayahuasca said. I said, I didn't want to do that. And Mother Ayahuasca asked, who did it then? And I looked inside of myself. I saw that ego who did it. I saw that ego. And Ayahuasca says, okay, that we say you didn't do it. But what about the thing that is you told her on the way back to Moloko? Why did you say all that? I said, what did I say? I said, thank you very much for listening to an old man garbage. Mother Ayahuasca says, aha. You learn sometimes back in your life to be a nice man, to get approval on a society, you need to apologize. You did it for that value, not from your heart. Didn't you? And I'm looking, I'm sorry. He goes, and then you did so cleverly at the end. I said, what did I do? He says, you knew. The old man always, every old man has some garbage. They talk, oh, I did this, I did that, I did that. And you knew that she asked you, and you knew you were not telling, you were answering a question, but you were not telling her a garbage. But you might, on purpose, you said the garbage to get her approval, say, no, that was not garbage, you were this and that, Didn't you? I said, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Now, what I find out you remember I said we learned that God, as a kids, God is watching us? From that time on, I said, there is nothing I can hide from it. These are something I was not aware that I'm doing, but I'm doing it. And the source, where is it coming from? I really don't, I saw that source inside of me. There is an inside of every person who makes it that all of this, this is me. Now, to get back at the story, because you want to know, how was I brushing the hero? I brushed it so many times. Before I get the carbon monoxide, what happened? How did I get carbon monoxide? I used to have, I told her that as a young boy, I was not a good boy. I was a bad boy. She goes, why? I said, I had a girlfriend, but my eyes was on somebody else's too, Because when I was there, I thought this is the place that I want to clean up myself. I want to be as honest as I can. Whatever garbage I had to throw it away, So I was telling, but Mother Ayahuasca says, no, this is not what you're doing. You still have that brushing thing in there. I said, I was not a good person. That particular night, there was another girl. I went out. I was going to school in Mount Shasta, right there. Every Friday, I travel down to Bay Area, and I go have dancing with my girlfriend and have eat, and then the next day I get up, go work in San Francisco in a gas station, and then come stay with my girlfriend, and then the next day go to work in a gas station on Sunday, and then travel back to Mount Shasta, same night, right? That particular night, because I was going someplace else, I had with somebody else, until 4 in the morning. I felt, this is not right to go to my girlfriend. That's bad, man. You're really bad, man. You better go to sleep in gas station. I went up, opened up the garage door. When I was slept I felt cold. I said, I'm going to start the car a little bit, the heater, and then sleep. And then I don't remember anything. The boss, in 9 o'clock, he kept calling the gas station. I was supposed to open up. He doesn't hear anything. So he drove to the station. He see the door is closed. My car is in there. He opened up the door. He see me in the car. He tried to get me out. He couldn't because my body was all frozen, So he put the coke machine out and take things and pulled me out. And then he was hysterical. He didn't know what to do. He was pouring water on me. Nothing happened, trying to wake me up. The neighbors see it on their, from the window. They call the police, and the paramedic came in and put me in there. Now, at night, when I was driving to the gas station, I had a beer in my hand. The police car came in next, so I put that down. When I woke up by these things, I thought this guy is a police who caught me because I had a beer. Now, when the first thing it is, I'm so cold, but they're nice with me, instead of kicking me, they're saying, okay, you be warm now, they put additional blanket and all that. And what is in my mind, I'm looking to a way to escape because I don't want to go to jail. As they taking me to hospital, I'm looking for a window how can I run? I'm glad I couldn't run, but this was on my mind. And then when I get to the hospital, I was so devastated that fall asleep. And then a guy came in with the white uniform that I knew is a doctor, woke me up. The minute I open up my eyes, I see the sunshine on the window. The minute I see the sunshine, I remember I had to open up the gas station. So I told the doctor, could you do me a favor? He goes, what do you want? I said, I want to make a phone call. He goes, you want to make a phone call to where? I said, I want to make a phone call to my boss to go open up the gas station. He goes, do you know what happened to you? I said, no, I don't know what happened to me. And he told me, they brought you from the gas station to here. And so, now, this is, the brushing was, I think, at the beginning of the story, why I got there. You know, because I was admitting something. Now the next brushing starts here. Because I wanted to go, I had a school, I had to go and take care of it, things. So they wouldn't release me. They said, next Tuesday, a doctor comes in. If you want to go home, he has to release you. I said, I have to be here until next Tuesday. I have school, I have this exam, and you know. No, you cannot go. So I said, all right, I stay. The doctor came in Tuesday. He started doing, you know, they have a hammer, they put on your knees. I said, doctor, please, let's cut the chase. Don't get too much. I want to go home. I'm okay. Don't do it. My feet, it has nothing to do with me. I want to go home. He goes, you want to go home? I said, yeah. He goes, I answer your question. I ask you a question and answer my question. You go home. I said, okay. He says, who is the president? I said, Nixon. Who was at that time the Nixon was president. He says, who was the president before him? I said, Johnson. He goes, who was the president before Johnson? I said, listen, doctor, I'm not a historian. You know, I don't know anything about, I never knew before, you know, it's before my illness. He goes, what are you? Are you good in math? I said, of course. I'm an engineering student, you know, I want to be a nuclear scientist, a nuclear engineer. And you know, you see the brushing starts. You see that from here? Now you see where the brushing starts. I said, you know, this and that and that. She said, okay, I don't care. Can you subtract 3 out of 100? I said, doctor, I'm telling you, I'm an engineering student. You're asking me to subtract 3 out of 100? He says, you want to go home or not? Here we're not exam. We're asking simple question. I said, okay, fine. I was hoping he would ask me some complex scientific things. I said, okay, it's 97. He goes, okay, can you subtract 3 out of 97 and keep going down? I said, of course. 94, 91, and then my head started to turn. And I said, I got tired. He says, then you cannot go home. This is what happened. I tell you, what happened, carbon monoxide, again, I start to brush my knowledge to the poor lady who was in front of me at that night. I said, carbon monoxide, carbon has 4 hands. You know, I said, carbon dioxide, oxygen has 2 hands. You know, one oxygen grabs 2 hands of carbon, the other oxygen grabs 2 hands, and these are fine, stable. Because everybody is not, now I'm trying to be as layman as possible in a scientific form, you know, but don't forget all of that is saying, you know, watch how knowledgeable I am, you know what I mean? It's a show of things. That's what the ayahuasca caught me, and I didn't know I'm doing it. I thought I'm doing, And I said, carbon monoxide, there is one carbon here, with the two hands. There's two hands busy waiting for some oxygen to come in the brain and grab it, and nothing gets to my thinking, my brain, and that's why I get dizzy, because all the air come in doesn't get used. So she goes, oh, and I'm enjoying it, of course, look how knowledgeable I am. These are the brushing.
Yeah.
These are the brushing that you what?
Everything is
Okay, now, I think let's have a break, and then I talk about the third night, and then you have to fasten your seatbelt on the third night. That the whole thing, all my experience is from there, okay, on the third night. This was preliminary, okay? So can we